Today I fucked up by asking my sister for sex and grabbing her ass. I know it sounds bad. It is bad. This happened about 3 months ago. For context, I live with my girlfriend in an apartment with 1 bedroom. My sister was visiting from out of town. She said she'd sleep in the couch. I thought that would be that. We ate dinner, chatted, had a good time. When it was time to go to bed, however, I was feeling horny. I turned off the hall light and then opened the door to crawl onto our queen size bed. I don't see shit. So I crawl in on my side, wait a few minutes, and then it happens. I turn to my girlfriend. Her back is facing me. I grab her ass and whisper, "I'd love to fuck you." Those exact words. Turns out my girlfriend is a good hostess. She had offered to sleep on my couch instead of my sister. Ended up grabbing my sister's ass and telling her I'd love to fuck her. My sister turned to me. "Max." I recognized her voice. I hopped out of bed. I was mortified. I ran into the living room and, sure enough, there was my girlfriend. I ran back into the bedroom and apologized to my sister. Both got a good laugh out of it, at least, even if I was laughing through the tears. Too long didn't read. My girlfriend and sister switched rooms without telling me. I ended up grabbing my sister's ass and saying I'd love to fuck her. Edit, I am now single. 23 male. Bisexual. Please fulfill the empty hole left in my life. Edit 2. So the reason she broke up with me is 2 reasons. She's a controlling ass and she thought I had exposed her privacy because my full first name is in the username. Such bullshit. Haha, that would be crazy if we did that, right? Haha, right? Unless? Turns out my girlfriend is a good hostess. She had offered to sleep on my couch instead of my girlfriend. Are you confusing sister for girlfriend again? Incest dyslexia. I've seen this one. Wasn't there a story some month ago when the boyfriend sneaked out from the bedroom just to fuck his sister that was sleeping on the couch? Could be very good friend, but I remembered it as it was his sister. Today I fucked up by asking my dad a question. So this is an old story, from when I was about 11, so somewhere in the early 2000s. I was working on my homework in my room, when suddenly an unrelated question came to mind. Considering my dad is pretty knowledgeable, I decide to ask him for the answer. I walk into the living room where my parents are watching television. Since this is before you could simply pause your show, or at least before that technology was common, I decide to ask my dad if it's okay to interrupt his show, thinking he would tell me to wait till a commercial or something. Me, "Dad, is it okay if I ask you a question?" My dad stiffens and slowly turns his head to look at me. He looks a bit pale and stricken. What? Me, I was wondering, if you aren't busy, if I can ask you a question? Dad, yeah, just go wait in my room. I happily go to my parents' bedroom, the only other room with a TV, and turn it on as I wait. This next part is my mom's perspective, which she shared with me years later. She was still focused on the show, unaware of my dad and I's conversation, when the TV suddenly turns off. She looks at my dad in confusion and asks what's going on. Without looking at her, he says in a shaky breath, "Our son has questions." She eventually figures that my dad believes I want to ask him about sex, and that he has to give me the sex talk. They spend a few minutes discussing what to talk to me about, and preparing for whatever questions I might have. She bolsters his confidence and sends him off to talk to me. I'm watching TV in my parents' room, completely unaware of what's about to happen. My dad enters, turns off the TV, and rigidly sits on the bed next to me. He clears his throat. "Well, son, what questions do you have for me?" Me, "Okay, well, are there number 1 pencils? They always say use a number 2 pencil at school, but I've never heard of any other number. Do they exist, and how are they different?" My dad slumps over onto his knees. He stares at the floor for a solid 30 seconds of silence. Finally, he takes in a deep breath and sits back up and answers my question. For those who are curious, it has to do with the quality/softness of the graphite in the pencil. Me, "Okay, cool, thanks Dad." I stand up to leave, but he puts a hand on my shoulder to sit back down. "Wait a minute, there's something something else I wanted to talk to you about. He proceeds to give me the sex talk. It wasn't anything overtly graphic, focusing mostly on puberty and biological changes I can expect. But it comes so out of left field for me that I am completely bowled over. He finishes talking and asks me, "So, do you have any more questions for me?" Reply no more questions as I shuffle back to my room. I sit down at my desk and stare at the pencil that started this, while I can hear my mom's cackling laughter in the living room as my dad tells her what happened. Too long didn't read, asked my dad a question about pencils, got the sex talk as a bonus. When I was younger I was also curious about that, so I bought a book on it and learned all about the history of the pencil. I was a weird kid. For those who are curious, it has to do with the quality/softness of the pencil. You, sir, are my hero. So glad he didn't explain it in graphite detail. That's what happens when you tell someone you have a question or want to discuss something or need to discuss something. When someone tells me that, I automatically stress out. If my boss sets up a meeting to talk about something, I start thinking about what I've done wrong or if I'm about to get fired. Even when I haven't and it's just about some random trip. It was a cute story though. Thanks, folded hands. I'm glad my parents never actually gave me the sex talk. Great story. I had to try to stop laughing, since it's like 3 AM here. My mom just tossed me a book, lol. No worries. Today I fucked up by not cleaning my belly button for 15 years. I guess I never really thought to do it. I just assumed soap would get in there. Throughout my life, I never liked sticking my finger in it because I would feel these weird crusty masses. When I was younger, I always assumed they were left over from my umbilical cord. Pretty dumb, right? Well, today it came up in conversation and my mom demanded I go take a shower and clean it out. After 5 minutes of light and uncomfortable scrubbing, I wasn't getting anywhere. I literally had to use tweezers to pull out black crusty masses from inside my belly button that have been there for 15 years. It was disgusting. There were many of them that wouldn't come out easily. I had to start pulling, which hurt. To this day, I don't really know exactly what they were. They didn't seem like dirt. Today, I can happily share that my belly button is currently clean and healthy. Too long didn't read, I didn't wash my belly button for 15 years, and had to pluck out black crusty pieces with tweezers. I'm sure you're all going to check your belly button now, lol. Edit 2, a lot of people are asking about a scent. It had none. And nobody ever told me they smelled anything. Edit 3, alright, when I say I didn't clean it, I don't mean it was protected from soap and water. I would take my hand and brush around and over the belly button area, just not inside. Also, the black crusties were likely fuzz from shirts mixed with my skin oil. So you can all relax. Plus, I'm sure plenty of you have done things far more disgusting. This is Reddit, not high school. Have a laugh. 53 comments. 53 Redditors checking their belly buttons. Already showered today but will be doing this tomorrow. Thanks op. Nah, man. Weekly quarantine shower is on Friday. I've had a surgery done through my belly button. The stitches and the aftercare were rather uncomfortable, pulling stuff out of there. Yikes. Since having keyhole surgery through my navel, I've been afraid of it. I'm gonna go back to bed and try again tomorrow. This sucked up my entire morning. 15 days isn't that bar. Years. 15 years. It was pretty embarrassing.